have time goals potentially that I want to reach, and most of these races is just me against myself and my own demons because you have a lot of them in 200s. Um, and I don't really care if I win again or not. I just want to do my best.
Welcome back to Flagstaff Bound, a special Cocodona 250 series brought to you by Distance to Empty podcast and Aravaipa Running. I am Kevin Goldberg, host of the Distance to Empty podcast, where we dive deep into the world of 200 plus mile races just like Cocodona. I'm here as always with everyone's favorite co-host, Peter Noyes. Today we have the reigning Cocodona 250 champion and current course record holder, Haroldas Subertas. Last year, Harry ran an absolutely incredible race at Cocodona 250. He's back to defend his title. Harry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure being here.
So before we dive into questions on this year's race, I just have to say I'm fresh back from seeing the chase here in Denver, the Cocodona 250 movie by Dylan Harris and Aravaipa Running. And man, congratulations. It was super cool, really well done. And it was fun to see you pretty heavily featured, especially towards the end of that as you worked your way up to the pointy end of that race.
Oh, the movie is really well made for sure. Like I'm excited to see myself in a couple of weeks here in Reno.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think by the time this airs, it'll either be very close to being released on YouTube, or it may already be released. So if you didn't get a chance to see the chase in person, it is well worth it. Really well done, and Harry is a main character in it. It was really fun. So very cool. Feels like I'm just hanging out with you back to back here from between last night and today, Harry. Um, so last year, you didn't just win Cocodona; you set that course record, lowering it by somewhere around nearly 10 hours. When you think back on that performance over the past year or so, like what comes to mind? What's the thing that sticks with you?
Um, I think like the biggest thing is just how unprepared I was, even though it seemed like I had like a perfect plans, but that was my first 200 that I had a crew and a pacers. And it was just a crew of two that started, like my partner Lauren and a friend that we met a month before, and they crushed it, just helping me around. And then there were friends around that we've met and helped me out, and it's just like how community came together for me to help me out to win this race and reach my goals. And it's just sometimes like the most unexpected things can happen during these races. And I wouldn't suggest not planning anything and just going along, but it just worked out really well for me. Just with a simple plan of just having time goal in mind and just working my way through it.
Yeah. From our perspective, it really seems like you ran a perfect race, but it is 250 miles, so I got to also imagine that you had some lows out there. So, were there any in particular that you experienced over the course of Cocodona last year?
Yeah, like couple like past few weeks I've been talking with my partner and I had two lows. The first one was just cramping in the first 50-ish miles, which I solved pretty easy, pretty quickly. But the second lowest low, I think, was coming into I think from Fort Hill to Walnut Canyon, that section just winding long single track trail that's ends up dragging so long. And I just remember having that ultimate million miles there, um, like ultra shuffle that it looks like you're running, but you're actually walking. And I've been in my head like trying every single excuse, like how to stop and rest, and my partner was pacing me at that time, and she did not let me rest, and just kind of kept motivating me. And it was biggest slow just because of the monotony of that section. Yeah.
Is that a point that you look back on and think like, hey, if I had gotten my way and rested there, like that decision in and of itself probably would have cost you the win.
Probably.
Yeah,
Most definitely. I already was moving pretty slowly that section, and the rest would not have helped.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Interesting to think about. Pretty cool. So having just seen the chase, I think your partner Lauren said something along the lines, not quoting her, but Harry usually goes to a race and people don't know who he is, but by the time he's done with the race, people remember who he is. There was like an interview with her where she said something along those lines. So this time, going into Cocodona 250, everyone knows who you are. Does that feel different to you? Does defending your title feel like more pressure, or is that something you thrive on, or is it sort of not super relevant for you? You mentioned having that time goal, so. And when we had you on Distance to Empty previously, which if you didn't hear Harry's episode on Distance to Empty, you should check it out. Great episode. Yeah, does that like are you more intrinsically motivated, or is this something you thrive on?
Um, I don't feel like it's my title at all or anything like that. Like, um, I'm I'm there just to challenge myself. Um, I don't care. Like a little bit, yes, everybody wants to win or beat everyone else, but in a sense, like as long as I can just do my best and challenge myself, push my limit, that's all I'm there for. I have time goals potentially that I want to reach, and most of these races is just me against myself and my own demons because you have a lot of them in 200s. Um, and I don't really care if I win again or not. I just want to do my best.
And when it comes to this year's race, are you going to replicate your strategy from last year, or are you tweaking anything?
I'm tweaking definitely. I've done quite a few mistakes last year, especially hydration. I am getting a little bit better nutrition. I've been training with nutrition where previously I wasn't as much in my training runs. As everybody else does, just you go for a 2 hour run. It's like I don't need to eat now. I'm a little bit smarter with that. Um, so in that sense, I have a strategy, but normally I just go with the flow. I try to have very flexible strategy just because there's always issues happening. And you have to constantly solve problems on these 200s. Some nights you'll be able to fall asleep and you're feeling great. The other nights you realize like you haven't been able to fall asleep for 40 plus hours and you're just a zombie trying to push through things. So like you never know what's going to happen and whatever you plan, it probably will go sideways. At least in my experience. So just being adaptable, being flexible is kind of my plan.
So over the course of this series, we're talking to a lot of people who have run Cocodona previously, like yourself, and then we're talking to a lot of first timers as well. What do you think the impact of course knowledge is when it comes to a race like Cocodona? I know when I've run it for the second and third times, like there is that sense of familiarity where you know the turns and the terrain, and you kind of feel more comfortable out there. Do you think that plays a big role in trying to be competitive in this race, whether against a certain time goal for yourself or against the competition?
Um, I think course knowledge is huge. At, at least for expectations and your planning at least as you go. You know how far is your next aid station uh, between certain sections because I had no clue when I was going along. I've never been in Arizona besides Grand Canyon before starting that race. So like it was everything fresh, everything new, which is a great mindset for me personally, just coming and exploring and observing the nature while you're going along. Um, but with the course knowledge, I can pay more attention to the nature and the beauty of it, and at the same time, like I have a better understanding of like what's coming up next. Where before I was just questioning myself, okay, like when is that aid station? How far is to the finish line? And those questions kind of just start digging through in your head, and then you just start questioning your actions as you go along. That's where the demons comes in, I think.
Yeah. So you mentioned last year, you made a couple mistakes. You had some cramping, maybe some nutrition. So obviously, it seems like the it could be run faster. So what do you think? How fast could Cocodona be run, or what do you think the winning times are going to be like in 10 years?
I for sure you can cut 5 more hours of my time. I I can see like somebody in 5 or 10 years running like 54-ish hours, maybe faster. I don't know. I know it's a lot of time, 5 hours. But I think it's possible. I don't know if it's gonna happen this year or in 10 years, but I think somebody will do it. Yeah,
Do you need
especially
sleep
with
in
the
54
competition.
hours?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you might not.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like I think it's possible. Like I've looked into the numbers and everything. You have to be running everything or most of it, and you have to be really efficient and maybe some sleep um, along the way. But it has to be a perfect race, I think, and it has to be a right person to do that.
yeah, yeah. I think what we saw. I mean, watching the chase fresh in my mind. I think what we saw is like not only does it have to be the perfect person and the perfect race, but it has to be a cast of people to bring out that perfect person and to push that limit. And I think that's the direction the race is moving in. And like we're just going to see more competitive fields on both sides, and that's going to drive performance because there's going to be someone who maybe starts out at what seems like a reckless pace with a group, and then there's one of those people that can put it together and hold it for a near perfect race. So it will be
Yeah,
interesting to see how it continues to unfold because it's been pretty cool so far in just 4 years of the race.
yeah, most definitely.
Um, so Harry, in a bit of kismet here, we became sponsored by John G right around the same time you became sponsored by John G, and now Cocodona 250 is sponsored by John G. So we have to ask, what's your favorite piece of John G gear that will be out with you on the course this year?
Um, I think the AFO metal shorts, those are just been my favorite so far in training. And last year, same thing. I ran 200, 200 races. And then it just feels like I'm naked. I love them. And yeah, the sun shirt that I'm wearing. Yeah, those are just uh for me like the must pieces, especially in Arizona being protected from the sun.
Yeah, very cool. So in closing, we have a set of rapid fire questions that we've been asking everyone. So I'll kick us off. What section of Cocodona are you looking most forward to?
Um, I don't. I'm looking forward to entire thing, but um, I was hoping so. Kevin, who paced Jeff last year to the finish line, he's pacing me this year, and I was hoping he can pace me to the finish line this year. So I'm just excited to run with him that last section and then talk through it, like how he felt with Jeff and how everything like just talk about that last section together. Hopefully, I'm still uh being able to think through my thoughts and remember things by that mile 250 something. But I'm looking forward to that last ending section. I know it's a little bit different this year.
Yeah, and I'm going to change up the next question. We've been asking the flip side of that, which which section are you most intimidated by on the course? But um, I think the course should be intimidated of you this year. So I'm gonna switch it up and ask what you think of those changes at the end there with the flop on Eldon going up the fire road and down the steep side. Do you think that's going to be overall slower for people, more difficult, easier? Any thoughts?
I think it will be slower for sure. Like just what I'm understanding, we're gonna coming down what we came up last year, right? So those steps are just a brutal after 250 miles.
Yeah.
And hopefully people will have some agility to like jump down, but I think the poles might be broken on those sections, at least for me. I use poles on the downhills, and that's where I tend to break them. And I use them quite heavily on the downhills, and sometimes like those bigger steps is hard to step down, and just like we might see some blood those sections. So I'm not intimidated by it, but it's just gonna be an adventure that the ending for sure. It's not gonna be a fast sprint as it was last year.
Then, what shoes are you going to be starting the race in?
Oh, I have no clue. Whichever has the most thread after I'm done training. I'm like I don't really buy many shoes, so whatever there's on sale, I just purchase a couple. I normally just go with the last seasons, and then just hoard it for a couple extra pairs, and then just keep going. Hopefully they can last.
All right, so with you taking the win last year, and just a lot of focus on performance, times, and results. What is one outcome of this year's Cocodona 250 that's not tied to those results, not tied to placement, that would make you really proud of yourself?
Um, Having fun along the way, not being miserable, like that would be the biggest thing, and just making to the finish line. I like always just finishing race, like any ultra race is a huge achievement. So that's the biggest goal, is at least reach the finish line and reach the finish line with a smile. And everything else, however it unfolds, um, whatever happens, happens.
Love it. And then, last question. So we got a little help from Chat GPT to help us try to figure out how many steps it would take to get from Black Canyon City to Flagstaff. So do you have any guesses?
I want to say I've seen it somewhere online. Isn't like a 500,000 or something like that? Maybe I'm cheating because I saw it, but
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. What is it? Something it said anywhere from 350,000 to 500,000.
Yeah.
okay,
Yep. So
500,000 is
yeah,
on a bigger
yeah,
and
yeah. Definitely better to say 500,000. Just
yeah,
takes
especially when you're shuffling
yeah,
those
small
tiny
steps.
steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, remember that Cocodona 250 kicks off Monday, May 6th at 5 a.m. Pacific time. You can catch all the action live around the clock on the Mountain Outpost YouTube channel. Aravaipa Running will be bringing you nonstop race coverage. You can also get behind the scenes updates and more content on Cocodona 250's social media channels. If you like the series, check us out, Distance to Empty Podcast. We are bringing you coverage of 200 plus mile races and 200 plus mile topics every week. Harry, where can people follow your race this year?
Um, I think on Cocodona live stream,
That's the place to
that's the
be.
best. That's the place to be for sure. Yeah, and then just get it in the chat and cheer everybody on. And don't forget to follow people after the first uh leaders finishes, because that's the exciting part, is Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
Not the first 3 days. Even though
Yeah.
first 3 days is still exciting.
There's a lot of fun on the live stream after the lead finishers. Aravaipa After Dark I'm hopeful that we'll be back, where Chris Warden and hopefully myself hop on the mic for an overnight series, and we'll keep the stoke going. So, Harry, thanks so much for joining us. We can't wait to see you out there in Arizona.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.